order. In February, following that, about what is that, about 6 months, 5 months, it was turned down by a judge. He said, no problem. Now, actually, there was a lot of problem. He said in the lawsuit, scientific assessments by the EPA conducted in 2004 and 2009 determined that there was no safe level exposure. That's just what she was telling the congressman. Nevertheless, they pumped it directly into the lungs of humans, including an obese volunteer and a volunteer with chronic asthma. See, they were looking for volunteers that even already had heart and respiratory issues.
And then you guys found out in the lawsuit and with your... going back from memory for the articles, that, again, they were skewing it, then claiming it was a lower level that did it.
Yes.
I mean, this is incredible fraud. So the story isn't just the secret deadly testing, Nazi level. It is the fact that they're a cult that would do this and then lie with the information. This is a group of sniveling criminals. And that same woman had to resign because she had fake secret emails operating to keep her criminal activity secret. This is a conspiracy of bloated, demonic pigs.
That's right. Now, what happened, the reason the Daily Caller picked this up is not just a wood smoke thing, but on March the 31st, a year after the judge said there's no problem, they released guidelines to say this is how we could enhance protection of human study subjects. This is a year afterwards. And what they're saying is, while the consent forms met the requirements, we found that exposure risks were not always consistently represented. Furthermore, the EPA did not include information on long-term cancer risks in its diesel exhaust studies consent form. Yeah, that's exactly right. When you look at their consent forms, and I've got it reproduced here from Adon's article back in September 26, 2012, he says, this is the consent form they were giving them. They said, if you have any tendency to become uncomfortable in small, closed spaces, it's possible you may become uncomfortable during this study. Say it's just claustrophobia. Then this is the closest that they get to warning people about the health consequences of this. They say, you may experience some minor degree of airway irritation, cough, and shortness of breath or wheezing. These symptoms typically disappear 2 to 4 hours after exposure, but may last longer for particularly sensitive people. This is the same EPA where the head of the EPA, Lisa Jackson, has just told people that that's the cause of death. It's one of the leading causes of death. It kills as many people as cancer. They're
consciously doing something they admit is at fatal levels and sending people to the hospital to fraudulently claim it was the type of particular you'd get on the highway in the documents.
Yes.
So total criminal fraud at every level.
And so the question is, they really were caught between a rock and a hard place. The question was, do you really believe your own regulations? If you do, you're trying to sentence people to death, okay? You're Nazi war criminals. Or are these regulations faked? Are they hyped? Well, the reality is, I think that in both cases, they've hyped the regulations, but we've seen over and over again that the government has no qualms about exposing people, whether you're talking about Tuskegee Institute or so many times. Just look at what happened with the USS Reagan at Fukushima, where they send the sailors into Fukushima.
Yeah, people say you can't keep this stuff secret. 44 years. They kept it secret. Tens of thousands of black people injected with syphilis. And then the media always spins it just like that's it. No, it was designed to spread it in the community.
There's been many, many cases of this. So in this particular case,
they didn't tell them they were giving them syphilis.
Yes, exactly. In this particular case, if the EPA believe their regulations, they're exposing people to lethal dosages of this particulate matter.
By the way, I'm sorry. Somebody injects my family with syphilis, I'm gonna kill them. You know, we just put up with basically anything in this country, and I'm sick of it. People say, that's radical. No, we've gotten in the position where the government just murders people, and it's not the government. It is a group of criminal, eugenicist scum. And I'm sick of them putting fluoride in the water. I'm sick of them doing all this stuff. They're a bunch of sick freaks.
Yeah.
Quit murdering us.
And so 2 days ago, they come out with this release from an inspector general at the EPA, basically covering themselves and say, well, we really didn't do anything wrong, but here's how we could do it right next time. I mean, they speak out of both sides of the...
Well, look at U.S. Code Title 50, Chapter 32, subsection 1528, paragraph B. It says we've outlawed secret testing unless for research or law enforcement purposes.
Yes.
Let's do one more segment on this. Bottom of the hour, I'm going to go to your calls. Alex, James, Al, Lori, Ironhead. We're going to get to all of you and more. And I'm sorry. If some crazy person's running around with a needle on the street trying to inject me with syphilis, I'm going to defend myself. So I don't care who it is. This is out of control. Admit we have a scientific group of mad scientists jacking with everything, laughing at us. And all you that work for the system, you're being targeted too.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. Silverlungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
Jessica Armand here, creator of My Magic Mud, the all-natural teeth whitener and strengthening remedy that's getting rave reviews from GCN listeners. Here's what Austin dentist Dr. Griffin Cole has to say about it.
I really love this Magic Mud product. Because charcoal is so absorbent, it's very effective at taking off all the sticky plaque and debris that gets stuck on our teeth every day. I highly recommend My Magic Mud.
Visit mymagicmud.com to hear the full interview with Dr. Cole. Get your jar today. That's mymagicmud.com.
Big business has discovered the preparedness market, and that makes it difficult to know where to go and who to trust. MyPatriotSupply.com is owned and operated by patriots just like you. Has the best prices on storable food, non-GMO seeds, water filtration devices, home canning equipment, survival and self-reliance books, and more. MyPatriotSupply.com has old-fashioned values and the absolute best customer service in the industry. Look for the deal of the day. Unique, affordable survival supplies that fit anyone's budget. Get same-day shipping on all orders and free shipping on orders over $49. Call 866-229-0927, 866-229-0927, or visit MyPatriotSupply.com for emergency preparedness, self-reliance, and food independence. Shop with a name you know and a name you can trust. Before it's time to survive, it's time to prepare. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
So, Dad, you're sounding a lot better. How have you been feeling since your heart attack?
Well, son, I am feeling a lot better. Ever since your sister ordered me a bottle of Heart Drop 2000's Extendovite for my heart.
Heart Drop? Extendovite? What's that?
Well, it's just 7 herbs that are approved for helping keep my heart healthy.
That's great, Dad. I was getting worried about you. I am so glad it's helping.
So am I, son. I'm very glad your sister got it for me. I wish I had known about it before my heart attack.
Yeah, but would you have taken it, though?
You know, I'm not sure if I would have, but I'm awful glad I'm taking it now. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Uncover a simple privacy loophole that can stop the NSA spying thugs in their tracks at privacylockdown.com. The NSA has already shut down hundreds of sites, and to truth be told, they could shut down this operation at any time. See, the privacy loophole I'm about to show you allows you to make all your sensitive information disappear in the next 30 days or less. Go to privacylockdown.com now to take your life off the grid and see the loophole in the NSA and FBI spying machine before they close the loophole forever. Go to privacylockdown.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
Everybody knows that the dice are loaded. Everybody rolls with their fingers crossed. Everybody knows the war is over. Everybody knows.
We have incredible video up on Infowars.com from KRQE News in Albuquerque on the heels of them shooting the homeless man and then letting the dog chew on his dead body with pleasure. Now federal marshals, federal Gestapo, shoot an unarmed man in Albuquerque and then confiscate the cell phones, but it didn't work. I mean, it just gets crazier and crazier by the day. New Mexico is basically federalized is the reason this is happening. It's been a territory forever. It never really became a state, in my view. David Knight, we're going to go to calls in the next segment. Finishing up, though, this is a big deal because this is just the tip of the iceberg. We know there's lethal testing on troops going on, all of this, and no one gets in trouble because this is part of the scientific dictatorship. It is their sacrament. It is part of the religion of these people.
Yes.
Like taking communion or something to secretly test on people. It is the raw exercise of power with the GMOs, with the food, the water, the geoengineering. And they go, yeah, we're spending billions on secret programs to change the atmosphere. We're not going to tell you what we're doing. Shut up. Yeah, we're funding Al-Qaeda. We're not going to tell you what we're doing with that. It's just, they just do whatever they want in the shadow state. And it's a bunch of eugenicist professors running it. They tried to recruit my dad when, you know, he was in state testing in high school and was salutatorian or whatever, and that was in the top, 6 in the state scores across the board. They called him in at UT like in 1967 or whatever, before he was getting out of high school, and said, we want you to join the eugenics cult. He didn't even tell me this till I made Endgame. But it's the standard deal. I've had other historians on who got the same speech. You're the top of your class. You're in science. They come to you. This is a cult. David Knight.
Yeah, and they went after the top of the class as far as the Nazi war criminals who were experimenting on people.
Oh, they wanted them like they were it was like a sports team trying to get the top, top people.
Absolutely. They had the Nuremberg trials where they did a show trial of some of the people, but they brought over a huge number of scientists in Operation Paperclip. If you want to read a very compelling book about that and about what was happening in the 1950s and the aftermath of that, chemical biological testing on humans with Japanese and German war criminal scientists, look at the book, A Horrible Mistake by, and it's about Dr. Frank Olson. He was a scientist that committed suicide by jumping out of a window. Okay, they had given him LSD.
They threw him out the window.
Yeah, exactly. They, his sons have investigated this. It's a very interesting story, but one of the most interesting things about it is not even necessarily his personal story. It shows how they come after the people that work with them eventually, right? They eventually turn on the Quislings. They eventually turn on the minions or whatever. If they wake up and see what's going on, if they have a conscience about it, as he did, they kill you. Okay.
Or maybe they just are competing with you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going. This is dishonorable.
Well, getting back to this particular thing, a lot of people will look at that and they'll say, even the person who wrote this book, and he wrote a meticulous chronology of what happened in this story about Dr. Frank Olson. But it's like, yeah, that was then. It's a good thing that doesn't happen anymore. Baloney, it does. Look at this. We've got a federal law that prohibits medical experiments on humans imposing risks that are not reasonable in relation to the anticipated benefits. This is from Dr. David Schnarr. He was an EPA scientist for 34 years. He was retired. He took the lead on this temporary restraining order where they're trying to stop the EPA from feeding diesel fumes to human subjects that they've already pre-screened to try to find people that have heart conditions and respiratory conditions so they can exaggerate and extend the regulatory reach of the EPA.
They're trying to hurt people.
Exactly. And then there's another doctor who looked at the consent forms, a Dr. Dunn, and he is a policy advisor to the American Council on Science and Health. And what he said was, the human experimentation was scandalously unethical and immoral. There can be no further tolerance of this misconduct. And yet, the judge said, that's fine, no problem. And that was in February. That was a year ago.
Why not go back to injecting black people with syphilis?
Yeah, yeah. And now a year later, they come out and they say, oh, well, let's change let's enhance our guidelines a little bit to make sure this doesn't happen again. Well, evidently there wasn't a problem a year ago, but now there is a problem. But it all points to what they're trying to do with the particulate matter. And if you look at, I think it might still be there. I didn't look to see if the EPA page has changed or not. But if you look up the EPA page on fine particulate matter, they've had for the longest time, a year ago when I started here and I did the report, they had a picture of the Smoky Mountains. Remember that report?
And they said there's smoky from particulate. That's an Indian name, Smoky Mountains. It's cold air hitting hot air. It's clouds. It's fog.
That's right. It's been that way since before.
And they know that.
Yeah, it's always been that way. And yet they use the Smoky Mountains as a poster child for their phony regulations. At the same time, they're exposing people to 50 to 70 to 100 times what they say are lethal limits of exposure particulate matter. They do it themselves. They break their own rules.
Unbelievable. David Knight, thank you so much. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There'll be more on the Nightly News tonight, 7 o'clock Central. In fact, I'm going to air the Soylent Green piece. I never air something twice the same day. It's so powerful. I'm going to air this when we come back. Then I'm going right to your phone calls. Alex, James, Al, Lori, Ironhead. We're going to go to Alex first.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run.
Soylent
Alex
Green.
Jones and the GCN
The video's up
Radio
on
Network.
Infowars.com. Get it out to everybody. Soylent Green. It's made of people.